There we go.
Yeah!
How we do?
Doggy!
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! There you go.
Doggy on a Thursday.
Doggy, you dominated him yesterday.
Have fun. Some laughs. Laughs with
You
him. No
couldn't
question
find your
about it.
chair. It was tremendous. I've never seen Stephen A. so happy. I texted him when it was done. I'm like, you look so happy, like a newlywed, fighting with you, laughing at you. You can't get your chair together. What were you so upset about on first take that your chair slid out from under you?
I forget. Yeah, something with the quarterbacks, I think. And the week before, I had the dopey ear thing fall out. So I've had the two. And if you know me, if the producers who have been with me forever, they know me. That's typical me. Computers, phones. I am terrible with that. And that chair is slippery. It's a freaking, there's no Velcro on it. You stick your rear end on it and you fall. And I got excited and I fell. And, that's why people like it. It's goofy. People like that goofiness. There's an edge to it, but it's some goofiness. And so that it kind of fits the bill. I
am so thrilled for you. I see your hair looks beautiful.
Yep.
Your televised hair looks rejuvenated. And one of the many reasons I'm thrilled for you is because I did not think that your passion would be so valuable that in 2022, Russo, we'd still be able to be out there on the worldwide leader in sports yelling about Larry Bird is better. I did not think I did not think there would be a market for whatever you're saying. Larry Bird is better. I did not think that would find a platform in 2022.
That's an excellent point. I'll tell you right now, give him credit too, Danny, because it's his show, not mine. So the idea that he is allowing me to be nutty and sort of fight him off and yell at him and all that, that takes a pretty good, that takes a pretty confident host to be able to allow me to go in there and, Chris, do what you want. If you want to kill me, go ahead. Not many guys would do that in that scenario. So he has to get all the credit for that. And I have to admit, I've had a lot of fun doing it. It came out of nowhere. Who thought I was going to, you saw me at the Super Bowl. Who thought this was ever going to, at 62 years of age, I'm not 30, at 62 years of age, for 30 something years, 40 years here, that all of a sudden, I was going to get an ESPN chance, so to speak, quote unquote. So it's sort of it's almost like be like a 40-year-old woman who tried to have, and then all of a sudden she has a baby. Mm-hmm. Christopher Russo, 62 years of age, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the United States is getting an idea. Who is this goofball? I mean, I like him. Who is he? So there's a little bit of that going on.
Dog, I do love that because the rest of the country is now seeing, the rest of the world is now seeing what I fell in love with so long ago growing up in New York, listening to you on WFAN. And so I'm so happy for you. And I think Stephen A. really enjoys it as well. And I am wondering, has there been a single discussion about you doing more with Stephen A? 5 days a week? What do you think?
Well, remember, I have the baseball show and I do have the radio. And maybe this is better. It's only 1 day a week because of the fact it's sort of something to look forward to, for the fans out there who watch. So maybe if you do it every day, they get a little bored of it. And maybe that you don't want to blow them away too much. I mean, I really hasn't been a lot of this guy. He's only been on 2 or 3 times now. You got to give him a little more than that. Let's see if I don't wear out my welcome. I wouldn't rule it out, but let's make sure I go on there and I don't say something stupid that gets me in trouble.
Oh, you're going to get some leverage here because the ratings are up on First Take and you're bringing a certain energy. However, and you're not afraid of criticism. You've been a lightning rod for a long time. So I'm going to read some things from the internet here to you, and I want you to correct some people on the history because they're doing something here. And this happens sometimes with music where you don't realize that the things you like were actually here 30 and 40 years ago before. And some people are being introduced to you, but you've been doing this so long that people don't know how ignorant they are about what they're writing here. Oh, look, First Take couldn't close the deal with Bayless when his deal was up, so they brought in the Kirkland brand version. Or Stephen A. went to Walmart and got a great value Skip Bayless. Or who the bleep is this Walmart Skip Bayless? And I'm like,
why are we even presenting this to Mad Dog Russo? I'm offended at the mere notion of having read
because
it.
I want him.
Skip Bayless is Kirkland Mad Dog Russo.
That's
Russo
right.
was
Yes, sir. Listen, 37 years here. Whatever I started in '83. I did 19 years with WFAN with my old partner. I went to Sirius 13 years ago. They didn't have a sort of their own platform. And here's what I would say: if you've done, and I hate to say this because it sounds a little cocky, but I'll say it to you guys because you're my friends. I'll say it to you guys. I've been on Letterman 37 times. From 1991 to 2013.
The bona fides, Doggy.
Right. Tell him.
When you can, and not only that, 2 segments, not one.
That's right.
When you can go on Letterman at 91 into 2013, when he was on NBC, his 4th show on CBS, and the last sports guest he ever had before he retired.
That's right.
If you can do that and sit there on that window and he calls your name in front of a live studio audience at the Ed Sullivan Theater, and you walk out there and you got 7 or 8 minutes to make something happen, if you can be successful there, you can debate Russell Wilson at Denver for 7 or 8 minutes or 10 minutes with anybody on ESPN. That's what I would say.
But they don't understand that it is an insult. This Bayless might be 70, but Bayless is ripping off the Russo stuff, and I don't believe Bayless is actually as passionate about this shit as you are. I don't believe he actually still cares about the top 5 tennis players of all time.
Yeah, and I do. You're right.
I know.
You want me to give them to you?
Yes,
let's do it.
Nadal,
but Djokovic. But yes. I still have that juice to do it. But I've almost been trained for these kind of jobs. I've been debating with fans, my old radio partner, a long time. I am 62. I'm not 30. And I've been in all sorts of situations. I wrote 2 books. I wrote 2 books on this argument stuff. So I've almost been like trained to do these kind of things. So if I can present it right, I can, and I have the right co-host who's going to let me say something and not be intimidated and give him all the credit for that, Stephen A., I can be successful.
All right, Doggy.
Give me something else. Give me something else, Danny.
Doggy,
give me something else in that internet thing.
I want to give you top 5 tennis players to win a match for your life, okay? I want to give you my top 5 tennis players, and then you break down the list because no one is better at this than you, okay?
No,
you got it?
Go ahead.
All right, number 5. You ready? Number 5 is Borg. This is a match you have to win for your life. This is men's tennis players, dog, and you know this. Borg at the time.
Is your accent getting more New York now?
Yes, it's Doggy, yes.
He's trying to impress him.
Dog, you know this, okay? Borg at the time, his best was better than anyone else's best, okay? You know that.
But don't try and convince him. Just give it to him and tell him what your
only
list
negative. The only negative with Borg, he never got the job done at the U.S. Open.
All right, you're right.
Lost to McEnroe, lost to Connors. He won 6 French. He won 6, I think it was 6 French or the other way around. 6 Wimbledon and 5 French, or 6 French and 5 Wimbledon. He won 11, but he never won the U.S. Open. And he had a lot of bad defeats to Connors and McEnroe. That would be my one negative on him. I can live with him at number 5.
All right.
Who's number 4?
Number 4 is Pete Sampras. Let me get through the list. Doggy, let me get through the list, and then you comment on all of it, all right?
Objections.
Okay.
Let's get through all of them.
Okay, so I have Borg 5, Sampras 4, number 3, match for your life, Jimmy Connors. Number 2, Rafael Nadal. And number 1, Roger Federer. Match for your life, Doggy.
You got to put Djokovic. You have to put Djokovic.
I can't.
If vaccination or no vaccination, he's won 20 majors. He's got a winning record against both Federer and Nadal. He beat Nadal twice on his favorite court. He's won 5 or so Wimbledons, beaten Federer there. Djokovic has to. And you got to put Rod Laver in there, too. You didn't put Laver in. Laver, of course, won a tournament, won a Grand Slam on all the courts. Red Clay won 2 French Opens. He won 2 Grand Slams, won plenty of Wimbledons. You got to put the Rocket in there in some capacity. I would take Connors out. I love Connors, but he only won 7 majors. I would not put Connors in. I know I love him, and he'll fight you to his. He plays. You know what Connors does? He plays every match like he's broke.
Yeah.
And that's what Nadal does.
Yeah.
But I'll put Connors out. I'll put Nadal, Djokovic, Fed, Laver. That last one is Peter Borg. I'll put Pete in there. I'll put board 6.
Very nice of you. Yeah.
Let's tell the people that Chris Russo has a new series of episodes of his Digging Up the Past podcast debuting this month. It's focused on the history of the NCAA tournament. Of course it is, because he's going to bring Larry Bird back. Whether you will not forget, not on his watch, you will not forget how good Larry Bird was. He will not allow it, not on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio channel, not on the MLB network, even though they don't talk about Bird over there, and not on First Take. The crew here noticed, Chris, and people have been trying to get you to talk and divide and aggregate you and your relationship with your former host. They've noticed here in the shipping container that you did not mention him by name, and I wondered while watching you and enjoying it, I wondered if Mike is happy for him. I wonder if Francesa is happy watching that.
My guess is Mike is not happy at all. That would be my guess.
I saw Mike and I last Thursday were at an event in the city. So this was after First Take. Mike right now cares about one thing, his horse. Mike's got a horse who's called High Oak. And this horse, now you may have seen it, Danny. He had the accident at Gulfstream last week in the Fountain of Youth race. And he needed to win that to qualify for the Derby. So he's got one more chance at the Florida Derby to qualify for the Kentucky Derby. And if you know Mike, like I know Mike, that is right now all he cares about. Do I think that Mike down deep? Yeah, listen, I was his partner for 20 years. He's a big reason why I'm sitting here today. Now you got another guy there. This is almost like a Mike and the Mad Dog TV show with Stephen A. If you're asking me, is there maybe a hint? You might be right. There might be. But I spent a lot of time with him last week. Mike right now cares. He's got 3 kids. One's a good tight end at Chaminade High School. The other one's very good off the tee in golf. And that horse, trust me when I tell you, I know Mike with the horses. He loves that freaking horse, High Oak. And that horse got a chance to be in that Derby. That's all he really cares about right now. Do I think down deep, is he watching First Take?
Yeah.
No. Do I think Mike is getting sick of hearing about it? Maybe. Is that a fair diplomatic answer?
I think
Maybe's
also,
a yes,
I also think beyond that, though, that not only is he not watching First Take, that in not watching it, he's thinking to himself, I invented it.
You know what? That's a very good point. I hadn't thought of it that way, Dan. You're right. That's probably, I'll lose something to it. I'm the pioneer of these kind of debate dopey shows. But Mike, and I think Mike is probably a little surprised at 62 years of age. He's only 5 years older than me, and he's been retired for 2 years. I think he's probably a little surprised that I'm still doing all this. Baseball, and who knows with baseball anyway. But I think he's a little surprised. Last week, of course, when I hung out with him, we had a nice time. And a lot of it was, I was fascinated by the horse and a little NCAA, the Krzyzewski book that came out by O'Connor, things like that. But we didn't really talk about where I am in my career. But I think that, he was a little surprised. Let's face it, Danny, guys, how many 62-year-olds after 30-something years get a chance to do something like an ESPN thing?
This is on ESPN quite a bit. Just generally.
Yes, on ESPN, it's not that rare. The part about this that I love so much, though, Chris, is I don't know how much introspection you have done about how the partnership would have worked if you had stayed with it. You've talked to us before about the ending of it and whatever the awkwardnesses are. But for a while now, even though you have gotten the things that you've wanted, you've been talking to yourself. There's a different energy around everything we do if you're not talking to anything other than the voices in your head. So you both made each other better, and it is a delight to see you doing communal work with somebody who's not afraid of you, that you're not afraid to go back at, so that you guys can make, silly television that's entertaining, because you still actually care about the things that you're yelling at him about. It's not a contrivance with you. You're a 62-year-old man who's insane about sports. You're nuts about it.
I do think you're 100%. I do think there's a big difference between doing something solo in this medium. I have calls and we have guests, but it's a different element here. And, in this point of the media business compared to, as you said, going on there, figuring out some topics. There's eight segments, figuring out the segments. You got Molly in the middle of us and going out there and, Stevie does his 3 minutes. I'll come back. I'll do my 3 minutes and we can have some fun. You got to present it right and you got to be somewhat combative. You got to be organic. You can't make up stuff just to make up stuff because people are going to see through that. You know, you can't make up falling off a chair. You can't make up Bird and Curry. You can't make up some of the arguments that you're going to have just to make it up because they're smart. They're going to see through it. And fortunately, you know, we can find some segments that we disagree with. But you're right. I do think you're right. I think you hit it right on the head. I think the key to what people like about me at the moment is I think the passion comes across as real.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you, Mad Dog Russo, and you probably don't know me from Adam, but as someone that grew up in this industry watching you, I am so happy that you get to have this moment crowned as one of the OG hot takers to actually build on what is a new audience for you. And the ratings will bear this out. My prediction for this year is they're going to soft launch you as a full-time co-host of the show. We'll call it Dog Days of Summer. Yep. You are going to take this job. You are too damn good at this, sir.
You deserve it.
You know who? Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I was fascinated. You know who reached out to me last night, and I can never get him on radio for whatever the reason. And you're going to say, really? I mean, you're going to be surprised, but he's very good at what he does.
Tom Brady's dad?
He sent me a great Instagram thing. And we've been trying to get him on for years, and I can't get him on. And you're going to laugh. Really? Kirk Herbstreit. I love college football, and he does a good job with that. He's going to get this Amazon job. I had no idea that he was a listener or he watched the show. So at 11 o'clock last night, I got to reach back to him. He reached out to me, and Eddie Erickson, you know me, I'm terrible with computers. He reached out via Eddie, and Eddie didn't tell me at 11 o'clock. I would have no idea. And I said, holy crap, I've been trying to get Herbstreit on for freaking ever. And he's sitting there saying, boy, what a job you've done on First Take. Yeah, you're honest, you're real, people are enjoying it. I was shocked. You want me to read it? Let me read it to you.
Okay, here we go. We're getting into the text right here.
We're
getting.
I mean, I think you're gonna say, well, that's a nice thing for him to say. Let me read it to you.
But you've got a hard out here. Interested. You got a hard out. You got 90 seconds before we got to get you out because your time is limited.
All right, I got 90 seconds. I got 40 seconds. Let me get it to you.
All right.
40, 35, 30, 35. All right, here we go. Been a huge fan of yours for years. So good to see you on Wednesday, entertaining all of us with SAS. Your candid approach and honesty have always motivated me to be real. Appreciate you very much. Keep up the great work. That's a hell of a freaking
good job.
Ding! That's a hell of a text.
Let's promote for the man.
Power move, not texting back.
Let's promote.
Doggy, digging up the past. What's going on? You got a few new episodes. Tell us about them.
Well, we just did the first one. It's on the 79 Bird Magic game. Back to Larry Bird, the wonderful game there. Well, it wasn't a great game, but it was in Salt Lake City. It's all about the 80s. CBS getting the rights from NBC, the rise of the Big East, Ewing, St. John's, Boeheim, all the coaches, and then the classic games. Indiana and Syracuse, Valvano. The Jordan Ewing game in 82 in New Orleans when he hit the shot to win it. PJ against Michigan and a lousy call by Clarkerty. Larry Brown, Oklahoma in 88 in Kansas City, 50-50 at the half. All these guys talking about those kind of games. It's a good podcast. They do a good job with it.
You're the best.
New series of episodes, Digging Up the Past podcast. I love this so much. The first episode, Magic Bird. It has to be about Magic and Bird.
Of course.
SXM app and again, Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio channel. Thank you, sir. We will talk to you again soon, I hope.
Twice in a month, Super Bowl and now. I owe you one.
I'm coming up to co-host the show with you, Doggy. That's the deal we made.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
A happy 61st birthday to Pam Oliver.
A happy birthday to her. I don't care. Good luck.
A legitimate pioneer in our industry. This industry can be very cruel to women. This industry has made it very hard over many years for someone like Pam Oliver to get to where Pam Oliver has gotten. Vern Lundquist is allowed to age on television. So a happy birthday to Pam Oliver, who is a real legitimate sports broadcasting pioneer, giving representation to the Malika Andrewses of the world to get their jobs at 26 so they can now be thanked for being representation for the world, permission to care about and be around sports in a way that isn't in skimpy outfits on the sidelines, which leads me to segue into this story that came out of nowhere yesterday. When I saw Jerry Jones and 25-year-old woman, I flinched because I'm like, oh, what's this story going to be? Secret family was not on my bingo card. I might have given it some thought. Lawsuit about secret family. Like, if you made me think about it for a second.
It should have been.
I always thought it was there. I mean, somewhere.
Did you? You knew.
Yeah.
So you're going to play the result on the secret family of Jerry Jones. There's a lawsuit, someone claiming to be his daughter, that his, and this one was, the detail was, you can picture it, that 25 years ago or so, Jerry Jones walked up to a airline ticket counter, American Airlines, in Little Rock, Arkansas, and he threw down the Jerry Jones charm.
Little wink.
A face that moved back then, one would imagine.
Yeah.
You don't know for sure, but maybe. It was 25 years ago.
Hasn't
Probably not
moved
moving.
since.
No,
Yeah.
probably not moving. No.
But he made his moves, and now we've got a secret family situation with the most powerful owner in the NFL. Not a secret family, but someone suing him because evidently $400,000 in hush money to mom, according to the lawsuit, $400,000 or nearly $400,000 wasn't enough to keep the silence now at 25. And I was wondering as I was reading this, a lawsuit where you're putting yourself out there as I'm the secret daughter of Jerry Jones. I don't love that I've had to be quiet about this for 20 years. A lot of people are going to assume money grab, right? But I don't know what the emotional need is to have. I can't, and I say this, I don't know. I can't understand what would be the emotional need to have it known, hey, my identity is I must be acknowledged by my father in public. I want to be acknowledged by my biological father. Is the source of the lawsuit or money? Because I'm assuming many people aren't going to make a distinction that those things can coexist. They're going to choose one side or the other, that this is something that is either impure or just a very basic need to, hey, my father is blank.
Well, right now, it's an allegation, but I'm sure he's pretty thankful that Dan Snyder and Stephen Ross are dominating the headlines because it's been a hell of a month for Jerry Jones. Sued by Brian Flores because he sued the NFL and all its owners. The Rich Dalrymple scandal, and now this. Banner month for Jerry.
For those of you who don't know what the Rich Dalrymple scandal is, it was the cheerleaders and $2.4 million in hush money settlement for a guy reputed to be Jerry Jones's fixer, the head of sports information, and a guy who's been with that organization for 30 years. And among the allegations were not just peeping on cheerleaders with phones, but also Jerry Jones's own daughter, skirt, meeting, like some ugly stuff to make that go away. And I would love, I don't know how much I would pay for this, Stugotz, to just look at paperwork that shows me all the things Jerry Jones has paid to try and make go away. Where there's a clean financial transaction on the most powerful man in football. Again, with a franchise, Stugotz, that he's always invited. This is an owner who was caught in a bathroom with young women with photographs and couldn't be extorted. He's always invited the circus. It's all entertainment. He'd like to be good. He badly wants to win a Super Bowl, but the Cowboys brand as it matters has made him wealthier and more powerful beyond his dreams with a stadium that is the envy of the universe, that makes the Cowboys worth more than anything in American professional sports. And one of the amazing parts is he buys into the circus so much that it doesn't matter that his team has kind of stunk since Jimmy Johnson left. Like for many, many years, it stunk and it has not mattered because he wins in money, but doesn't win the way that he would like to win, which is money and my team is the best. My brand is the best because it's excellent.
Just back to the original story you brought up. It's reported that it was $375,000. But this is interesting because is it a money grab or is it a daughter who grew up without being able to say who her father is? Fatherless, right? And just wants to acknowledge, hey, that man is my father.
I don't know who she was raised by. I don't know if there was a man around the house who she thought was her father. I don't know what the hurt involved with that is. So when I present it to you as an audience, I don't do so because I have any answers for you here. I just ask you, what do you think is the impact of never having known who your father is or have it be silenced where you might know, but everyone else doesn't know. And what is the need to have everyone else know? I don't know how to discuss it beyond pointing at it and saying, oh, look, another scandal with Jerry Jones, another secret thing that was paid to go away in a climate where you see what Daniel Snyder makes go away with payments. You see how absolute power corrupts. Stugotz. Jerry Jones has gotten away with a wink and a hand on your knee for a long time. I've been to Dallas to do the magazine stories where I'm welcomed into his office, and he is charming as hell. It's just Texas smooth. It's hand on your knee. Like he knows how important he is, and he makes you feel good about yourself. But we've learned that rich people all across the disparities in economics across the world right now, very few of them arrived where they are without a whole lot of neck stepping and a whole lot of ugly stuff that has to happen for you to get to the top of where you are. And I just can't imagine what the slush fund side money is for just make all the stuff go away that rich people can make go away and powerful people can make go away, no matter how bad or ugly it might be.
And that's the subtext of these two stories, both from Don Van Natta. I've worked with him before, and I'm not going to speak for him whatsoever because I don't know what he's working on, but I have to imagine it feels like tip of the iceberg sort of stuff, because you'd have to imagine that at some point a subtext is being built for Jerry Jones pays for things to go away. And so what happens from here, I'm really interested in, like from a pure journalism standpoint, because I can't imagine Don Van Natta's, the finish line on his work is yesterday's story. It's continuing to try and dig and dig and dig and find what else is actually, like you said, documentation, what is out there to be proven.
There's not anyone else doing it, I don't believe. This is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who gave us the original ESPN glimpse into some of the Jerry Jones stuff, because Jerry Jones said, come along, be in the box with me as Adrian Peterson tries to get traded to my team, and I'm violating all sorts of rules in the skybox because I'm trying to get Adrian Peterson. He let Don Van Natta in to his home, into his suite. He welcomed the attraction of, sure, cover the circus. What are you guys going to find? I was surprised that Van Natta was the one reporting this years and years later, because usually with that access, a whole lot of people get bought, Stugotz. Just compromise their soul. I don't mean bought actually. I mean, it's real easy for a journalist to get intoxicated by Jerry Jones thinks I'm important. I'm never going to ask him difficult questions. I'm not going to report stuff about you. You trade. It's one of the things I've been talking to you about with what we found out during the pandemic about what these information insiders are doing to make their value $10, $15 million, whether it's Schefter or Woj or however you keep your relationships, because journalism's not a very human business. A reporter meets you, you don't give him access or her access that is trusting to your life. You show that person what you wish, which is Jerry Jones, watch and look and Don about how fascinating and famous my life is. Not look in the shadows that fame leads in a 25-year-old daughter who I paid so that nobody would know I was her father, allegedly.
I had the same reaction Roy had. Man, I'm trying to think. Is there a story or a headline where I'd be surprised if it involved Jerry Jones, where I'd be shocked or surprised? I don't think there is one. I mean, I just don't.
You're incapable of being shocked.
Yes.
So
by anything Jerry Jones has done throughout his life.
So if I told you right now, stunningly enough, that Jerry Jones had murdered Amari Cooper, driven him in the desert, and thrown him into the sand, you would be like, not shocked.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if he paid a hitman to do that.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised at that. Him doing the dirty work, though.
So you guys are
What is happening
incapable of
right
being
now, guys?
surprised by
This is all Dan's fault by throwing it out.
murderous. How is this my fault
Reckless.
that I...
You gave them the room to start speculating.
Oh, but why do they have to take it to the most extreme place of I am
Why don't
That
you
is
know
your
that they
fault.
would always push it to the limit?
incapable of surprise?
You gave us permission.
Jerry Jones has done so much that I assume is malfeasance that there is no behavior he's capable of. If he were Putin right now going to war with Ukraine, there's nothing I would be surprised by.
So you took it to the limit there.
I just don't understand how it's possible that you
But
guys...
also, I wouldn't put it past him.
I wouldn't either.
I was going to say paper trail. I don't know why.
Just paper trail.
Roy had a hitman
You have been wanting for 3 weeks. Stugotz has been wanting to say.
Dalrymple's got the goods.
I've given him the opening at every turn. Stugotz forgets we're doing something together here. He just gets lost in thought.
I'm uncomfortable with Dalrymple having the goods on Jerry. I got to be honest with you.
He has wanted to do nothing more for 3 weeks than utter the allegation Dalrymple had the goods on Jerry Jones.
I mean, he was one of the guys, it appears, according to Don Van Natta, that would clean up a lot of Jerry's messes. And then when Dalrymple had a mess, it kind of just went away. And that's because I believe Dalrymple has the goods on Jerry Jones. I mean, how about that?
I mean, why else would you pay $2.4 million to settle the cases for your PR guy? You can find a lot of PR guys.
Oh, but I think he was probably a vice president and one of his most trusted inner circle people.
You can find a new head of PR.
Yeah, but not this one. This guy was the eraser. I'm telling you.
That's why, right? Like,
yes.
and in some ways, the Tyler Skaggs story in Texas, I think, is fairly instructive of this as well. Everything you hear about what happened with their PR guy, who I believe was convicted on those charges, was that everything that the players wanted arrived at his doorstep, and that's a huge source of trust between organizations and PR guys and players and PR guys. That job is a really important one.
You said Texas, you meant Anaheim, and
The case was in Texas, yes.
I want to talk about something that happened that we have not talked about yet that is going to make you guys insane, and I'm surprised that we have not talked about it yet because we had
Make sure it's not Bruno.
A genuine incident.
We don't talk about Bruno.
A genuine incident in college baseball yesterday that is going to get everyone in here's attention, even Chris Cody, who has spent the last 90 minutes buried in something that isn't the show. This is going to get everyone's attention.
College baseball, huh?
Yesterday, well, you'll see. If you think I'm overpromising here, you tell me after I've told you the story.
Okay.
Whether I've overpromised on this story that needs to be a bigger national story and is being underreported. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, college baseball news sometimes gets here a couple of days late.
It's the only news that gets here late.
Texas State in the Amazon Age, put it on the poll, Chris Whittingham. In the Amazon Age, is college baseball news still the only thing that gets here late? The only kind of news that gets here late. Texas State beats number 1 Texas. The game before, after Texas beat Texas State, Texas's closer waved bye-bye to the Texas State bullpen. The retaliation the next day, as Texas State beats number 1 Texas on a called strike 3 looking, is for the pitcher from Texas State to turn to the Longhorns dugout and give it the upside down horns. Right at the dugout.
Wow.
Oh.
It was not the Pete Weber chop of the crotch. No, I don't know why you're doing that.
You call that the Pete Weber? That's the Degeneration
yeah,
X.
that's Degeneration X.
That's
a sucker.
I got 2 words for you.
Yeah.
I got one for you. Fine.
I believe Pete Weber. Didn't Pete Weber also do the suck it?
I think Pete Weber did more like the this.
Pete
Who
Weber.
am I am.
No, that was the only thing that was original from him. He stole
Who do
from
you
wrestling.
think you are? I am.
Right. That is a great expression. I've seen that clip multiple times. What does that even mean? Who do you think you are? I am. Like, what does that even mean?
He got caught up in the air. But no, Pete Weber would always do the DX crotch chop, and he would also do the RVD Pete Weber thing. But that was he would stole his whole gimmick from wrestling.
The Pete Weber thing is in the same vein as that politician that made news a few years ago. It was like, yeah,
Howard Dean.
Howard Dean. There you go.
But you just
How long ago was that?
That was 15 years ago.
I think of those in the same.
That was the 08 race.
A few years ago.
I put those things together for some reason.
I don't understand why you're putting those together, but from the maker of quoting A Few Good Men and making it, you can't handle the truth. I want to know what you thought Pete Weber's signature emotional. He won on by a single pin with a strike, and he turned to the crowd, and you shouted not, "Who do you think you are? I am." You shouted something different.
I mean, I just remember the I am, but he also had an R. Like, what was the wrestler that had the,
Steve Martin also. Mike just said it was
Yeah,
Rob
Mike
Van
just
Dam.
said that.
No, but
yeah.
I'm saying
Rob Van Dam.
But that's the other thing that he had.
Also, Howard Dean ran for president in 2004.
I also said that.
What a time.
Wow.
You haven't been listening to the show for 90 minutes because the pop star thing with the musical has gone straight to your head.
Little college baseball.
Upside down horns at the dugout. Mike Ryan, you're made insane by upside down U's.
Yeah, that's grounds for battle. That's grounds. You want to start a rumble? Do that in my direction.
It's the third time that they beat Texas in school history, too. So I think they deserve to do that.
No.
Also-
It's the ultimate disrespect. You don't turn someone's hand gesture upside down in college athletics. You do not. If you do, prepare for the consequences.
But also, don't taunt Texas State as the number 1 team in the country. Once you've taunted Texas State as the number 1 team in the country, everything is in play.
Is that right?
Except for criminal behavior.
Once you
Everything is in play except for that.
No.
You don't do that.
No, I deeply admire the North Carolina players that do the upside down U.
No.
What?
Why would you?
Yes.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
You're sticking it. You're
Do you have a
sticking it in my
diploma?
face.
Do you have a
Yes,
diploma?
I have a
No,
diploma.
no,
It's in my
not-
fucking wallet.
not
You
anymore.
understand?
Wow. Does he
In
actually
your wallet? You have it in your
Do
wallet?
you really have your
Actually,
diploma?
not in this one. Actually, it's in
Oh,
my
yeah,
You're
it's
other
in
lucky you
another
don't
wallet.
have the
How does
diploma.
it
because
fit
I
in a
would
wallet? Wow.
chuck
How
it.
does it
Okay.
fit in a
Wow.
wallet?
I was given
How many
a
wallets do you
wallet
have?
diploma.
When
I
he,
was
as
very
a,
proud of it.
laminated?
as
I
a
mean-
full-on official member of the Golden
gotta be
Cane
laminated.
Society, you no longer have a diploma.
Oh, piss off.
I have the power. You no longer are a graduate.
Deeply
All the
admire.
years they put into that.
You might as well have done that to me. And if you do that to me, that's worse than giving me the middle finger. I swear to God. Lewis gave me the middle finger, not as bad as if he turned the...
What if the middle finger was upside down?
I can't believe that Whittingham, in all seriousness, just looked in his wallet and was disappointed.
I'm sad that it's not here. It's at home. I should always have that on my person.
You have a second wallet?
I can't believe that you have
changed wallets.
Why do you have your diploma in your wallet? For what purpose?
Actually, it has come in handy exactly one time. I was getting a car loan and I got a discount because I was a recent graduate, and so the wallet diploma was my proof. It actually came in handy once.
He's so cute.
but of all the things that are strange about you, I simply can't believe that there are very few opportunities in life where the weirdness of having your diploma on you would be asked for, and yet you just had it and you missed your once in a lifetime or your twice in a lifetime
now
opportunity.
50% on the chances that I could have used my wallet diploma.
You're a disgrace of the wallet diploma. I'll tell you that right now. Disgusting. You would side with the Tar Heels.
They're beating us in football.
Don't do that.
They should. Why
No,
not? They
you
should
just point to
taunt
the
us.
scoreboard.
The
Do
university,
anything. Give me
the
the finger.
University
Do
of
anything.
Miami does not have a leg to stand
You're right,
on in
Chris.
terms of taunting.
Yep.
If somebody wants to taunt us, fair enough. Randall Hill ran through a tunnel 35 years ago.
They could
if we
taunt
could-
us.
No, he's right, Mike.
Taunt us. Taunt us.
If we beat them in basketball, we could do the taunting, right?
Taunt us.
We slapped the floor in front of Mike Krzyzewski's
Boom.
number 1 Duke.
Yep.
It was
Taunt us.
incredible.
Taunt us all
I
you
will
like.
never forget that.
I say give me the finger. I empower you to do so. Do not put the U upside down. Just don't do it. Don't do it around me. And you think I'm playing. There will be a scandal that I'm embroiled in because I will shove someone that does that in my face thinking that we're cool. We're not. Don't.
What if it's Nebraska? There's an N. What if that happens?
I'm not turning anybody's upside down. I'm not turning a logo upside down.
Well,
I don't want the golden
have
rule.
you partaken in the FU Seminoles? With
I
the middle
told you
finger?
I'm very uncomfortable by that, but I hide it behind a hand, and therefore.
But you've done it. But you've done it.
No, but I do it under the. I do it under.
It's a Eddie Vine.
So you do the chop with a single middle finger, but the whole movement is hidden behind another hand. The middle
And
finger
there's
is
layers to
extended.
this. There's cultural appropriation. There's a whole bunch of things that I'm
I know,
uncomfortable
but
about.
you do it.
Yeah.
You do it quietly in the shadows, but in front of people behind your hand.
Why are we being penalized because we have a cool hand gesture? There's so many. Alabama doesn't have one of these that you could do. So they get to skate on this disrespect.
Miami's celebrated by doing the gator chop. That's happened
Alabama
before.
celebrates by winning.
Good point.
You can't. How do you sarcastically do a gator chop? How do you make that a divisive thing? You do a broken gator
Oh,
chop?
you do the broken one, yeah.
It's just don't do
It's
the
been
upside
done.
down hand gestures. It's very insulting
You
to
cook
people that
gator
care
at the
deeply.
tailgate. That's what you do.
Gator bait.
That was good.
Don't do that.
So good. People walking out of the stadium and I have a plate. I'm like, you want some gator?
I honestly think you should be thrown out of a stadium. You should be thrown out of a stadium if you do the upside down U because you're instigating at that point. You're gonna incite violence.
You should lose your free speech. Like in that one instance.
Wow.
like,
Just
yeah, I
like
believe,
report a fan.
Yeah.
If you're at Hard Rock Stadium and someone gives you the upside down U, you are empowered to report that fan because they're causing problems. Should you not?
A citizen's arrest. I believe that people.
Well, they should be removed from the premises because they're starting shit that's going to be dangerous.
I've erred here, though. I really don't feel like we've asked enough questions about how many times you have to fold a diploma in order to get it in your wallet. Like, I don't even understand what it is that Whittingham has done here. How many times does one have? Like, the idea of carrying around a diploma.
Laminated.
And well, you had to be laminated, but I don't know. Is it laminated?
It has to be laminated.
I imagine it being folded up.
Gotta be laminated.
How does it fit?
But how does it?
I've got one from Miami-Dade College.
It's like the slot that you put in, like where you put your driver's license. It's a driver's license size wallet diploma.
If you get a closet door jammed, your Miami-Dade College diploma is so great for unjamming it.
Wish I had one of those.